So we just watched the newest Godzilla movie, Godzilla Minus One, and this was directed by Takashi Yamazaki. And I'm stoked to talk about this movie. So yeah, we'll have a full review for you. Lickety split.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another iPopcorn for that review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and we are here to talk about Godzilla Minus One. So this is directed by Takashi Yamazaki, his first Godzilla movie, and this is the 37th movie in the whole Godzilla franchise. What's your background like with Godzilla? Have you watched a lot of these movies? Do you like them? Have you not watched many? Where are you at with it?
So I think this is like the first Japanese one that I've actually seen. I think I've only ever seen the American versions of the movie, and none of them are really that good. Like, I mean, Godzilla 2000, I think I kind of liked as a kid, but on a rewatch, I'm sure it's terrible.
Yeah,
And
it does not hold up. The Matthew Broderick one, yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure, and I mean, there's been like two or three that come out recently, a Godzilla vs. Kong, and then the Gareth Edwards one, and
There's one in between too. Like there was like the
yeah,
2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla,
there's,
Godzilla King of Monsters,
Mhm.
and then Godzilla vs Kong. And I
and
saw I saw all of the Gareth Edwards one and all of Godzilla vs Kong, but not Godzilla King of Monsters, and none of them really.
no, yeah, I couldn't tell you which one it was because they all kind of blend together, but I remember watching one. It might have been King of Monsters, where it's like every time he's about to start fighting something, it just cuts away immediately, and like you don't see the fight, and that was
Yeah,
really annoying to me.
yeah. The 2014 one, it almost seems like they were trying to go for like how would you see Godzilla if it was all through the perspective of people just catching it on their phones.
Yeah, so
And
maybe
like,
that's the one I'm thinking of then, and I hated
yeah,
that.
and it was just frustrating because like some of the design and stuff was cool, and the epicness and the scale and stuff was cool, but yeah, just not a lot memorable about it. And like you kept wanting to be like, could you move the camera a little where I can see more of the stuff I paid to see? And it just didn't. Yeah, it didn't work. So, and I'd heard really, really good things about Shin Godzilla, which is a Japanese Godzilla movie that came out relatively in like the last 3 or 4 years.
Hmm.
And I heard really good things about that, and I was wanting to, eventually watch that for this channel. I guess it would have been nice to watch that leading up to watching this movie, but I think for me too, this is the first Japanese Godzilla movie I've seen. I haven't seen any of the 30 plus, older movies, and I'm sure they have their place, and I know it is like a visual metaphor for nuclear power and nuclear weapons and bombs and the tragedies that took place in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And this is kind of a stand-in for that. And so this one, rightly so, I think, takes us back to the beginning. It's 1940. It's December of 1945. The war is winding down, and we're introduced to I guess you would say, failed kamikaze pilot, or he was meant to be a kamikaze pilot and lied about his plane malfunctioning and lands on this island where it's all like plane mechanics and they're fixing up kamikaze planes. And we find out right away that he's lied about that, and he's like racked with guilt about not doing it in that last moment. And pretty soon on this island, this dinosaur-like creature that we know is Godzilla shows up, decimates everything.
Baby
And so,
Godzilla.
yeah, a little still huge, but
Yeah.
baby Godzilla. And right off the bat, like that first scene, you don't really have to wait. They don't waste a whole lot of time at all. That first scene gets you off with some action right away, and it had its hooks in me early on. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it did. I like the design of him. And he's definitely the classic like Japanese design where his face kind of looks like the squished dog a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. They just do such a good job with the CGI, and they give you everything you would want out of Godzilla in this. They don't shy away with the camera. Like you see plenty of Godzilla in this, and plenty of carnage. And the cool thing too that I didn't expect out of this is the storyline that's going on. There's sort of like an impromptu family being formed, and there's a baby involved, and there's this woman who gets thrown into this guy's life, and he's racked with survivor guilt. There's a lot of like nuance and like art in this thing where
Yeah.
it actually is really effective, like emotionally, and you get involved in these characters. There's growth and change happening in these characters, and I think a lot of movies get picked on and critiqued for spending too much time with the people and less on Godzilla, and this just balanced it. I thought super well, you know.
I thought they did a really good job with it, and during the scenes where it's like them as a family, you almost forget you're watching a Godzilla movie. Like it's really good
Yeah,
story development, and it's not just like I feel like every other Godzilla movie is, all right, it's the military. At least the ones I've seen, the American version, it's the military or this corporation. We got to figure out how to take down Godzilla. Where this is like the
hmm
story of these three people kind of becoming a family, and then yeah, Godzilla's here to mess shit up as well.
just the fact that when we realize like the war is over, all these planes and ships and everything are decommissioned, and we've still got a war to fight here, like with Godzilla. We form sort of, I don't know, a team to execute this goal, and the team is all either civilians or ex-Navy officers. Like these people are civilians for all intents and purposes now,
Hmm.
and it's very voluntary, and it's very like we've just got to protect our people, and not everybody does it. But I thought that was a cool angle because you've got these people that aren't bound by duty per se. They're just bound to like by their love for their country, their love for their fellow man. And so this is very much by choice. And so it adds, I think it added weight to it, you know, because
Yeah.
they're not just following orders here. They don't, nobody has to be here. They chose to be. So that was really effective. And there's some twists and turns in there that I don't really want to ruin here, but like there's some surprises in here that would be easy to ruin. So I wouldn't look up a whole lot about this if you're interested in watching this.
Right.
But the action scenes just really deliver. I mean, like I said, from the very first Godzilla scene to the end, but it sort of builds and builds. Like each one is more impressive than the last one. And you're like, that's what I'm talking about with a Godzilla scene. And then
Yeah.
the next one's like, okay, that was cool. That was very very cool. But that's actually what I'm talking about. And it just kept getting better. I thought, you know, the epicness and the scale of everything. The CGI is so well done.
Yeah, man,
Uh,
like, I mean, I do have a little bit of thalassophobia, but whenever he's in the water kind of chasing boats, I was like, man, this is pretty terrifying, actually. He's,
yeah, I mean, there's a couple moments where I'm like, they give like a close up of his face head on, and
yeah,
there's a little part of me that's like, look at him, he's a little goofy, you know, look at that guy. He's got
yeah.
like a tiny little head.
I mean, yeah, when he's out of the water sometimes and he's walking around, it's like, this guy's a goofy old dinosaur.
But you usually only get about 3 seconds of thinking like, look at that goofy little guy before he's like, oh my god, yeah, actually
Yeah.
I am terrified by this, and it reaches almost like there's some parts that are almost horror movie level, you know, like in the I think that first Godzilla scene, you know, kind of reminded me a little bit of like some of the most iconic scenes from Jurassic Park,
Right.
the
I
initial
was thinking
Jurassic
the
Park
same
movie.
thing too, yeah.
Just very very effective, and I mean I can't think of a whole lot of cons. You might see this as a little bit of a there's maybe you could see moments where this slows down a little bit,
Yeah.
but I thought it was all earned and worth it,
Yeah, I
and it
mean,
added weight to things that happen later. So
yeah, overall, I think they did a really good job with like building the family of the three people, and then everything with Godzilla. The only thing that I would say was a con is maybe the ending,
hmm
like
yeah, I guess it'd be hard to get into.
the very ending, which would be spoiling. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Like the very very kind of the last thing you see in the whole movie.
yeah,
Um, which I did think there was a cool, and maybe we can dip into spoilers at the end for a second. I don't know. I'm hesitant to spoil anything about this, but there was a cool little thing at the very end, like literally a little thing.
yeah.
And I wonder if you saw what I saw, and
Mm.
how intentional that. Well, I think it was intentional for sure. But there's like kind of the last frame of the movie. Uh, I would, if you go see this, I would pay attention to the very last frame and see if anything looks kind of interesting to you. I don't know if it's exactly the last frame, but hopefully you'll know what I'm talking about. But I mostly have just praise to heap on this thing. It really, I would say it surprised me, except that I had heard like really, really positive things coming out of this. So I was
Yeah.
expecting a good movie, but man, this still surprised me. This was a lot better than I thought a Godzilla movie could be to me. You know, this is
Yeah, same.
everything I wanted for
Like,
sure. And it's making me definitely want to go back and watch at least Shin Godzilla because I've heard such good things about that from kind of the same people that are saying good things about this. So
yeah, I've heard the Monarch one is supposed to be pretty good too. I guess it's on Apple TV, which I don't have.
mm. Yeah, if you guys have seen like other Godzilla movies that you think might stand out against the pack, or if you've seen Shin Godzilla, I'd like to, hear what you guys think about that, or recommend your favorite Godzilla movies to us, something like that.
Yeah.
But without getting into spoilers, I find myself without a whole lot more to say. It's just a great Godzilla movie. It gives you everything I could imagine wanting out of a Godzilla movie. I don't know who this wouldn't be for. If you just hate the idea of like giant monster movies and carnage and stuff like that, I don't know why you'd be interested in watching this anyway. So if you watch the trailer for this and you're like, that looks pretty cool, it's
Yeah.
pretty freaking cool. Yeah, it's a good one. Go see this.
Go see it
It's fun.
if you're a fan of Godzilla.
How many like crazy, like blockbuster action movies do we get in the year that are actually good? Like we had Mission Impossible and this and John Wick 3
For it.
or John Wick 4. What else is there? So
Right.
yeah, they nailed it completely for me, and I'll watch more. Kind of makes me also want to like check out other stuff from this director because I know he's done other things outside of this Godzilla realm, and I know that the team who worked on the special effects here have won tons of awards for their special effects, and you can tell. And I was going to say this too. I think this is the last thing I have to add, but this movie was made on a budget of $15 million.
Oh wow.
And I just cannot understand. I don't know which part is shocking. If the fact that this was made for 15, or the fact that we have all these movies out here like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the Marvels. The Marvels cost $270 million to make.
Wow.
I'm just not sure what you guys are doing with the money. For all intents and purposes, I mean, I'm speaking out of my opinion here, but like, isn't this a much more satisfying, good movie? And I don't think anybody's going to watch this movie and be like, it looks too CGI.
Yeah.
It looks too fake. It doesn't look fake. It doesn't look like it was done on a studio set or some kind of, there's scenes here, I don't know how they did them. I mean, are they actually on the ocean?
Right. I mean,
I guess a lot of CGI, but it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, most of the budget probably went to CGI because if you think about it, like the sets are pretty small and there's not that many outside of like when they're on the ocean, and
The ocean would be the hardest part to do. I would, and I imagine those are the most expensive scenes.
Yeah, and then like the big city scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was like they're at the house or they're on the boat.
And there, by the way, this is not all melodrama and action. There is a little bit of humor in here, but it's just, I think it's just peppered in there to give you some little breaks from all the drama of all of it, because this can get a little heavy at times.
Oh, yeah.
The subject matter is a little heavy. This is not,
Post World War II,
Japan
everybody
just came out of World War II, yeah, and now we've got to deal with this whole new problem. But yeah, and just the handling of survivor guilt, I thought that's something you don't necessarily see often enough in movies that might be beneficial for someone to see someone dealing with that on a big screen. But to stop myself from just continuing to praise this movie to death, what score would you give this thing?
I'd give it probably like 8.5. It was a really good movie. Like, it had a lot of action. I really enjoyed the story of the family like coming together, and because it's just she forces herself into his life, and he just kind of accepts it, and then they have a really good dynamic, and that little girl was adorable. Like in the scenes that she was in.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's almost like the pieces of war, the fragments left behind after war, are sort of whether they like it or not, kind of glued together here.
Yeah.
But it works, and I really am a sucker for like a good ramshackled together, thrown together. We have to make the best of the situation and form a family along the way by accident. I'm a sucker for that kind of story. And I just watched something very recently that was like this, a Korean movie. There is a excellent Korean film from like last year, I believe, Brokers. Brokers, totally different kind of movie, but if that's something that you like in a movie, I highly recommend that movie. But I would give this one, I'd even go a little higher. I'd give it a 9. I just don't have a lot of complaints at all. This is great. I recommend it to almost everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, guys. We're gonna have kind of a bonus video this week, I guess. So Dream Scenario is finally out in our location, so we're gonna watch Dream Scenario and have that out for you, hopefully sometime in a day or two. But check out some of the videos we've recorded before. We just have that video for Saltburn. Love for you guys to check that out and see what you think, and comment below what you thought about that movie. So go watch Saltburn if you haven't.
Yeah.
And tell us about it. Go watch this and tell us about this. And if you like this, hit like below. That helps us out a lot. Helps us show on more people's screens. share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below and like get a conversation going down there. We like talking to you guys about movies a lot. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks.
I'm a OG boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my seat, boy. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by